Hey, today we're going to do a quick and easy assembly, scootercycleworks.com. Here's a retrospect Fixie. It's out there you can buy on my site. I'll show you how to put it all together. This is what she'll look like coming out of the box. As you can see, everything's all taped. Keep it from scratching. This is your toolkit, your pedals. It'll actually take us longer to unwrap this thing than it will put it together. You got your wheel, front wheel over here on the other side. Just get some wire cutters or scissors, whichever's easiest. Start snipping away. There's your seat post and your seat. Just make sure you take everything apart carefully here so you don't bend any spokes. Scratch up the wheel. Take that and leave it to the side for now. Then you can just unwrap everything. It really doesn't matter what order you unwrap it. Here's your bars. You just want to leave them wrapped for now until we get to them. That way it doesn't scratch anything. And there you go. Now you can start. I'm going to use a bike stand here to put it together, which it's not necessary for you guys to have one at home. It just makes everything a little bit easier. But again, you can put it together with or without one. All right, this is how the bike comes out of the box after you get all the packaging off. As I said, you might want to leave the packaging on your bars until you get there so that while they're hanging it doesn't scratch anything. But it's pretty simple and easy. All you really got to do is put your bars on, put your front wheel on, put your seat on, and put your pedals on. It doesn't take that long to do. It should come with all the parts needed to do it. Excuse me, all the tools needed to do it. And as I say that, I didn't put a toolkit. Okay, cool. Cut for a second. Okay, now basically all you need to put these bikes together is a couple Allen wrenches and an open end socket. And you don't necessarily need it, but you might want to have an adjustable wrench as well. This will come in all your Critical Cycles bikes. Most of your retrospect bikes should have them as well, but it's basically your adjustable wrench. It's got slots for your pedals, slots for your wheels. This one here is to take your chain tensioner off the back in case you want to flip it from fixed gear to single speed. But all your Critical Cycles bikes will come with these tools, so you don't need to go ahead and buy anything. So I think we'll start by putting the wheel on here. Some of the bikes will have the writing on the hub, others will not. If it has writing on the hub, you want to make sure you install it so that you can read it while you're riding. If you've got it installed like this and you can't read it, that means your wheel's on backwards. Not a big issue, but all you've got to do with this is loosen these up. Slide them on here, and then these little things here with the hooks. You want to make sure they go in the eye there before you tighten them up. That'll hold your wheel up where it's supposed to go. For now, you just manually tighten them until you get both sides on. As you're going along, you want to just go ahead and tighten these up, because if not, you might think you tightened them, and then you might forget about it. Tighten that one up like that. Tighten that one up like that. Just make sure you don't get too close to your forks, otherwise your wrench will scrape your forks up. Next, we'll go ahead and throw the seat on. Your seat should come like this. It's already tightened. If you need to change the angle of your seat, just loosen it up from here. Put whatever angle you want and then just tighten it back up. But for now, since I don't know who will be riding this bike, we'll just go throw it on and adjust it later. Make sure the nose of your seat lines up with your bars so that it's straight. And then just go ahead and tighten it up. While you're assembling it, it doesn't matter what the height is, just put it on there because you'll probably change it later. All right, there's your seat. We'll go ahead and throw the pedals on. When you put your pedals on, you got to make sure, after you get them unwrapped here, they only go one way. If you put them on the wrong way, you won't be able to get your foot in it, and you'll strip the thing on your these ones don't say right really. Okay, now when you put these on, you want to make sure that the open side is to the outside so that you can get your foot in, because as you can see, these don't say right or left, but they will only go on one way. And start just by hand tightening them at first. Once you get them all threaded, then you can take your multi-wrench. If it doesn't go in, do not force it, because you will strip either the threads on the end of your crank, or you'll strip the threads on your pedal, and if you do either, you're going to have to pay to have them re-tapped, and that's not cheap. So just take your pedal wrench, your multi-tool here, give it a good turn. There you go. Now when you get to the other side, brakes are a little tight there. When you get to the other side, you're going to want to turn it in the opposite direction you turn that one. Just put your wrench on there and tighten her up. Of course, that one doesn't want to go in. There you go, there's your pedals. And as I said, your foot slides in from here. So make sure you've got those on the outside. If you want to take these off, you don't want to ride with them, there's just some bolts here on the back. You can just take them off, and you can take these cages right off. course, this just slides out. Take your cage off, you put that back on and tighten them back up. Some people like them, some people don't. All right, when you come to your bars.
One second. Just, okay.
When you come to put your bars on, just go ahead and unwrap them. These usually come with lots of tape and plastic on them so they don't get all scratched up. What your bars will look like after you get them all unwrapped. See the Pro Max sign here on the brake lever? You want to make sure that's pointing out when you go ahead and put these on. So for now, we'll go ahead and unscrew all of these. These little washers that are on here, they like to run away and hide on your garage floor, so be careful when you take them off. Of course, they're also greased on the inside. That way they don't just come loose. Just go ahead and take all of them off. Go ahead and place your bars in there. For now, we're just going to hand tighten these, just so your bars don't slide around, and we'll come back and tighten them at the end. And again, when you put these on, normally when I assemble them, I just put them so that the brake levers are facing like that, but if you want to move them down or move them up, it's all a matter of how you're comfortable riding, so you can go ahead and adjust them how you like them when you get to that point. Alright, so they're hand tightened. Now, with your retrospect bikes, your front brake line comes like this. It is not hooked up. But I am going to point out that you do need brakes, so please leave them on the bike because they come with brakes for a reason. It's a lot safer to ride with them than it is without. So we're going to show you how to hook this front brake line up first. Over here on your front brake caliper, this nut here, all you do is loosen it up. Your brake line will slide right out. You want to go ahead and run it through the back. My handlebars are not cooperating, but that's okay. Run it through the back of your brake lever here, and then just stick it in the end of your brake line. Pull it out all the way, and then run it through your caliper here. Once it comes through starts feeding it through your caliper, you want to run it through your brake end here. On the brake end, you get this part here. When you run it through the brake end, there's a pinch clamp there. You're going to want to make sure it goes through there. And then pull it tight. And then again, for right now, we're just going to hand tighten it. All right, we can go ahead and tighten these bars up now. Again, the angle all depends on how you want to ride it. I mean, it's got a little bit of bend here. Some people like it up like that so that it's flat up. I usually just put mine about right there. Because again, I don't know who's going to buy the bike. And you just take your Allen wrench and just go ahead and start. You don't want to go top, bottom, bottom. In fact, we'll just back that one off just a little bit. Make sure your space is even on your head here. Make sure your space is even top and bottom on here. You don't want a big gap, otherwise your bars will end up loose. And then just take your Allen wrench. If your bike doesn't come, I'll get into that after. Then just tighten up this last one. All right, there, that's good and tight. Now we'll get to the brake part here. You want to make sure your brakes are, your wheel is centered so that you have both equal space on both sides of your brake. Make sure before you tighten up this brake line, your brake should, or your wheel should flow. All you got to do is, while you're doing this, hold your brake line tight. And then just tighten this up a little bit. Give it a spin, and they stop. You also want to make sure when your brake, you have correct positioning. You want your brakes to rub against here. You don't want them to rub here. You want your brakes to stop here. So if they may or may not come in the correct position when you get it from the factory, it's just an adjustment thing. If they don't come in the right position, all you've got to do is loosen this up and then slide the brake pad up or down. After you get it in the position where you want it, squeeze it, and then just tighten this back up. And that's as easy as that. Now on your front brakes for these bikes, since you have to run the line, your brake end cap is usually taped up here on your brake line. So all you've got to do is cut this little cap off. Get all the tape off of it. Take this little end cap here.
Wait up.
Get better that way.
Wait up. Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Take your little end cap, put it on the end here, and then just take a pair of wire cutters or pliers and give it a couple pinches, and it'll stay on there. That'll keep that from fraying, which is something you want if you've got to cut this or work on your brakes later on down the line, because if this thing frays and you don't notice, you put your finger on it, it'll go right into your finger. So that's just a easy, convenient thing like that. Those brakes work. When you come to the back, these brakes are already set up. Again, they may or may not be the way you want them. So just spin the wheel real good and make sure they stop. And again, you want to make sure for proper alignment. And as you can see, this is where you want your brakes to strike when they strike. They're both lined up pretty good. So this bike is pretty much set to go. All you've got to do is take all these little stickers off. But next, we'll show you how to put air in the, these have got Presto valves on. They have a different way of putting air in them. When you take your cap off, you'll see that you've got this little pin here thing. All you've got to do is take your cap off, take that off, unscrew it till you can't unscrew it anymore, and then make sure you do this, because if you just take this cap off and try to put air in here, you're going to bend this and your tube is going to become useless. So you want to make sure you do that. You can get a pump like this at Walmart for like 11, 12 bucks. There are two different ends on it. This will be the end for your Presto valves. As you can see, it's got a skinnier opening. That'll be the end for your Schrader valves. You need, you definitely need the one for the Presto valves to put air in these, or else you'll never get them aired up, and it'll just be frustrating. But when you get your pump, if you get one like this, you just go ahead and flap that on there, and then lock it in. I usually put, it says on the tire to inflate to 100 PSI. I usually put about between 90 and 100 because it's a little more comfortable ride. And as you can see on our dial here, it's got a pressure gauge. So there we are at 90. Put about 95 in there. Go ahead and lay that down. Pull it off. Your tire is good and inflated, so all you gotta do is screw that back down. Put your cap on and you're good with this one. Just repeat that same process with the back one. These bikes are really easy to assemble. There's a website, the phone number is on my website if you need any help, or if you don't think you can do it, then we recommend taking it to a bike shop. But that's pretty much how to put a Fixie together. If you have any questions, just feel free to call us.